Will here. I'm a bit late to the party, but I thought I'd give it a go on my review of Godzilla. First off, I think it becomes increasingly clear as to why director Gareth Edwards was chosen to helm the reboot of Godzilla. His feature-developed monsters showed he could build a convincing world inhabited by monsters, and best of all, fill that world with compelling characters. And speaking of compelling characters, I thought I'd start off with, listing the main characters. So with in saying that, I'll start off with Bryan Cranston. He did his own thing in this movie, really. And if you've seen Breaking Bad, Malcolm in the Middle, Drive, etc., you know this man has some great acting talent. And what he did in this movie was amazing with what he was given in the time. His role was subtle, but at the same time so heartfelt, and the theme of his character, which is the main scientist trying to figure out what happened to the plant in the beginning, that whole character presence resonated throughout the entire movie, which I thought was great. The next character is Ken Watanabe. I gotta say, I love this character. I enjoyed his role very much. Ken, as a character in the beginning, understood everything that was going on. He understood what Godzilla was, what he meant to the movie, and what was going on with Bryan Cranston and everything. Now, I'm not exactly too sure what I liked about his character, the acting or just the character in itself, but I just know I really enjoyed Ken. Next is Elizabeth Olsen, not the Olsen twins, sister, but the good one, the one with acting talent. Her character wasn't in the movie as much, seeing as in the beginning she was left at home, caring for her son, and she's a nurse and also it makes sense. And that's really basically her character. And the final actor, the one we've all been waiting for, Godzilla, obviously. Alright, but for real though, Aaron Johnson is the fourth character here, and he played Bryan Cranston's son, Ford. And his role was basically he was a military man, and his character was sort of flat to an extent, but it makes sense seeing, as I mentioned, he's a military soldier. And what I liked about his character is he never gave up throughout the movie, whatever it was he was facing, death, danger, whatever, he kept moving throughout the entire thing. And saying all that, I don't think his character could afford to have that much emotion as the rest of the characters, because he had too much to deal with as it is. His main character's thing was that he needed to survive, and that's what he did. So, I guess I'm alright with the character. And besides those four, there's plenty of other actors who I recognize, but their acting was decent, but it didn't resonate much with me. So, as a whole, I think I'd give the entire acting scheme of the movie a 7.5 out of 10. And now, I think I'll just go on to the film itself. Now, the film itself is grounded in the mythos of Godzilla. And if you know anything at all about Godzilla, you will you will appreciate what this film did so much more than everyone else. The style of this film is truly unique, and it feels like it's really refreshing in the world of modern Hollywood blockbusters, where everything is like either dark and gritty or over the top and campy. Uh, you know, Now this movie, don't get me wrong, it generally has its dark and serious moments, but it's not afraid to go indulge into the childlike joy of a giant anti-hero having epic face-offs with other monsters and saving the day for humans, which I really enjoyed too. Because when I went into this movie, I thought it was gonna be like I thought they were gonna try to make it too Hollywood, but I was really pleased with the outcome. Now, one thing I did notice that angered many like overhyped fans is the much anticipated Honolulu airport scene. The big reveal of Godzilla. It seems quite epic, a slow pan up Godzilla's body followed by him roaring in fury at the severely outmatched Muto. Then it cuts to a scene of the main character's son watching snippets of the subsequent fight on TV. And there are several more of these cock-teased fights where Godzilla just barely begins to fight one of the Mutos before it cuts to someone else, and it caused a lot of disappointment for fans who were expecting to see a lot of Godzilla action. There are a lot more extensive action scenes with the Mutos throughout the film, though, so that's alright. But despite everyone else getting really upset at these parts of the film, I actually I didn't mind them because these scenes I understand that they served an important purpose to the movie. They just They were there to build up, they were there to build up the climax, basically. After all, if there were more scenes like this in the movie, the big final battle at the end wouldn't seem so special. I hope you guys know what I mean by that. Now, the action we do get in the movie is completely awesome. With each appearance of Godzilla before the climax, it's always a huge moment, one after another. Now, with several more in the climax itself, each of them being more awesome than the last, it's really great. Now, the one I wanted to, the first one I wanted to focus on, like, one of these good climax moments, was there's a huge tsunami as he rises from the sea. Then, the above mentioned big reveal, the Golden Gate Bridge scene where a huge mass that appears to be Godzilla approaches the boat, but only to be revealed to be just his tail. That just gives you a feel of how big they made Godzilla, and that was an amazing moment. It was jaw dropping. And then the last one I really wanted to talk upon was his final face off against the Muto. And then the moment to end all moments, the huge, monumental, incredible, mind shattering moment where his tail lights up out of the dust, and then the light goes up his back, then, his neck, and finally, he unleashes the most incredibly awesome atomic breath ever. Now, don't get me wrong, it may not have been as powerful or as flashy as some of the previous incarnations, but it's all in the presentation. And this Godzilla has undoubtedly the most dramatic and visually pleasing atomic breath of them all. But then, just when you think that is as good as it gets, that they couldn't possibly top this. This brings me to my next point, basically. The death of the Mutos, I don't know if I'm saying these right, Mutos, so just bear with me. The deaths of these Mutos are just incredible. First, we get to the Muto flying at Godzilla from behind, and then, boom! He slams it with his tail right into the skyscraper. And I found this scene to be really funny, when the skyscraper falls after the Muto's been, like, smashed into it, Godzilla just looks back as the building's falling. He has, like, that moment, like, in his face, it looks like, oh, shit, It's just, like, this Godzilla's expressions are just really funny to me. It's just great. Now, you know, and finally, the moment I really loved about this movie, the peak of the climax, and undoubtedly the very best scene of the film. When the female Muto is staring Ford Brody down on the boat. When and of course, it seems to be a really fun thing throughout the movie. He draws the pistol like that's gonna do something. It kind of reminds me of the military. Just, these things drink radiation, so let's drop a bomb on them so they could have more radiation. I understand why it's there. It's just really funny to me. So anyways, Ford draws the pistol at this giant beast, and then out of nowhere, Godzilla, just comes behind it, grabs its jaw and just like bites on its neck, you know, grabs its jaw open and like fires his atomic breath down its throat and tears its head off. At that moment, I wanted to stand up and clap. I just want to be like, fuck yeah, it's just so amazing. It was great. So, anyways, back to being calm. Having said all that, I am eagerly expecting a sequel, and I would give this movie a 8 out of 10, maybe 8.4 out of 10. Can I do that? I think I can. So yeah, I think that's it for my review. And because I'm about to go see that movie again, actually, it's just so amazing. And I do recommend this movie to anyone who hasn't seen it, although who hasn't. And if you have seen it, go see it again, obviously. So remember to like, share, and subscribe. A Godzilla cries every time you don't.